We are back to Petals of Africa school property, and we are inside the school. Behind me, when you can look at the farthest end, are just the bricks that we are talking about. And where we are is where we are planning to have the teachers' houses constructed. On the right land where we are here is Jared's land, and if we could walk a bit, we'll reach where we have the school land that Jared donated, and that is where we'll have the teachers' houses put in place. And yeah, right where we are now. From here, I hope we can have the tall trees down there. So from here we have the rest of the land belongs to Jared, and the next land, part of it is for the school, and we have now 4 acres that is still lying and worked on, and this is where we are planning to put up teachers' houses. And the main reason why we want to have staff houses put in school is that in Kenya we are living far away from the city, and people cannot have houses to let. Actually, you find if they don't stay within the school, it will require that they travel over 6 kilometers away, and that denies them time to come to school. We don't have good roads, we don't have communication network to say we don't have vehicles around that can be transporting teachers to school, and that really gives us hard time. And most schools that we find around, we find that have staff houses where teachers are staying in, and they pay if they cannot pay, and then you find they are given freely to stay in those houses, but they are constructed by the school, and that really gives us hard time. When we don't have such facilities in the school, the teachers will be forced to move from Petals to other schools where they can get such facilities, because they are having their families, and these families need accommodation. For them to work here until very late, at times it is raining, and give them hard time to travel from Petals back home. And in the morning they are expected to be in school. You find that at night the teachers need to give some remedial work to the pupils, and it is very, very difficult to do that when they are operating from home. What we are giving the teachers here at Petals is actually a token. We cannot call it a salary. You find that it is very, very minimal compared to what other teachers are getting all over the Republic. You find that because of little money that is donated, we have to squeeze so that we give teachers very minimal salary, and that is really denying us teachers. You find that today we have very good teachers, tomorrow they all walk away because they look for greener pasture elsewhere. So they'll have to go and look for other better schools that can pay them well, give them free houses, and then you find we keep on losing teachers in that way, year in, year out. And this is something we are praying for, that we have the staff houses in place, so that next time when we get very good teachers and we pay them well, Petals will even do much more than it has been doing. Find with all the difficulty we have been emerging in the top 10 all through since we started. And I pray that in the future, if we'll have good facilities put in place, we'll even do marvelously good work, and it will be something that everyone will be happy about. Adjacent to the school, Petals School, we have done a pit latrine that is in progress. It has not been done, but we did the digging of the hole, and we are planning that we have it completed. It is a bit deep, and we had dug it, and we now want to construct it. We have the foundation laid, and we have the slab put on top of it, and then we can have it erected. Just next to the toilet is where we'll have the staff houses put in place, because the staff houses will be on the same property that we have. And I feel on my personal ground that when we have the toilet put in place, the teachers who are going to live here and any other staff that is going to live here will be using the same toilet, just the same way they could use the toilet when they are in school, because the school and the staff houses where it is going to be done is on the same piece of land, and it is just connected to the school. And I feel if we could have this toilet put up, will save them, because the next toilet that we have is almost sliding. It is sinking, and I believe if the rain continue to fall, it is going to sink. And that is why I decided to come and have it done here, because we could see that this place is hardy and it has rocks. So we could have the toilets done here instead of where we have been putting them. Most of the toilets that we have been doing there have been sinking, because the soil there is not having rocks. It is loam soil, so when it falls, it starts collapsing, and that is really giving us hard time to put up the toilets where we have been putting them initially. And that is why I propose to have it put on the ground where we are. And I hope if we will have it here, it will be of great help to both the teachers during the day and even at night when they are living in their houses, if the houses will be put in place. We can move to the toilets that they are currently using, and we find that the toilets really require immediate action, that we have some put in place. Adjacent to the fence where we are, we have the bathing room where the children are taking shower, and it requires that we put up another bathing shower very soon, so that we separate the shower room for girls and for boys, because right now they are sharing a bathing room, which is also not advisable. We find that the government doesn't recommend that the girls and the boys share the same bathing shower. So we have a room here, and this room is where the children are bathing. We needed to have another one constructed at a distance far away from this one, so that we can leave this for girls or for boys, and then we construct another one. Adjacent just to this, we had a property that was in progress, and we were planning to put the construction up. It had been left undone simply because we wanted some building materials to finish it, so that we could have the we call it tailoring section done here, because as we are speaking now, we find that we have the dressmaking for the students, but it is done in the church, and we are hoping that we'll finish the construction, and then we can do the dressmaking in this house that is here. We wanted to have a secondary here initially, and we realized that we could get another land behind the school, so we left doing the secondary down here, and we said, oh, we can take it on the upper land that was purchased later. So we said, okay, we cannot leave this property go undone. We'll have to finish it, and we can use it for tailoring, where people are having sewing academy. So they'll be doing their sewing academy on the same property, so it doesn't go to waste like that. And this is something we are having in mind, and with the help of the bricks that we have, we'll be able to move it a bit, and we complete it. It reached where it required some cement, some money to pay for the labor, and then we do the roofing, and then it is a house that can be utilized immediately. And these are just some of the projects that we have, and we are praying for them that in the near future we can have them in place, and they will be of great help. Right to where we are heading to are the pupils and staff toilets. They are just behind the dormitory. We have dormitories for both girls and boys, though in a separate rooms, but on the same block. So it is our prayer in the future that we have another dormitory erected on a separate land as required by the ministry. And I feel it would be of greater help if we would have we have a dormitory here. This dormitory is for girls, and behind the dormitory we have the toilet for the children, and we realize it is only one that both male and female are using those separate doors. But we feel in the future that we have a different toilet far from that. This one is almost collapsing, and it is the one that the teachers are using. So we feel it is going to fall when the rain comes. So we feel we should have a different toilet separate from this one, because this one is almost collapsing. It has made some cracks, and it is going to fall in the near future. So we feel the best thing we can do is to complete the toilet we have just walked away from, to safeguard the lives of teachers and other staff that are using this same toilet, because it can cause accident anytime as we are talking now, because the rains are almost approaching, and the landslide will be formed there, and the toilet will have to sink. And that is very, very dangerous to the lives of the teachers that we have and any other staff member that is staying around here.
Could you show us the cracks?
Actually, if we walk, we realize that, if you can look at the toilet, it is almost falling. It has formed the crack, and it is inside it has really formed even same cracks. The floor is shown same thing. It is almost falling, and you can notice it because all the cracks are all over. And this is something that we cannot continue using. It is very, very risky, and at any given time it will sink. We had constructed one just on the same ground here, and one time we came out from the church and we found it all sunk down. We had a very big toilet here, and it was not constructed from inside. So the landslide came, and we realized that after every rainfall, the whole toilet could go inside. So what I'm doing currently with the toilet that the pupils are using now, I constructed it from underground. I had to put bricks, do the construction, have the wall done from the ground inside, and then I lay the slab, and then I put the construction up. That is why I decided not to put more toilets here, but to go and have that one done where we have hard core that I believe the rocks will help the toilet to withstand the condition of the weather that we have here. Because if it falls, the toilets have been causing us damage. And the one I did the other time, we had to construct it from inside until we laid the slab. And you find that if you do all that, it take much bricks, and that is actually adding the cost of the building. So that is why I said, okay, the best thing is to have a toilet on a hard ground where it could withstand the condition of the weather that we are experiencing here. Because this loam soil, where we were looking at the toilet, has some gravels. So it showed that it is a bit stronger compared to where we have been having this toilet put on. And here is the end of the school property. On the other side, we have the villagers that are living around Petals. And I'm happy because these days we can have people moving back to their land. And this land was actually isolated over the years following the war that had been taking place between the Koreans and the Luos, made the people to migrate from here and seek refuge elsewhere. They have been staying on other people's property for very many years until the creation of Petals. That is when they started resettling back. And you can see new constructions underway. They are putting up their houses just after realizing that the school is here and has cohabitated the two communities together. We stay with them in peace. There is no more conflict. So people are seeing the sense of coming back to their lands. And that is why we can have homes constructed around Petals now. But when we started the school, there was no home. It was me and Lillian and my children who are here. And actually, I thank God that these days I can see people moving back and settling onto their land. And this is just a blessing. Here we have the boundary. So the other side is not our property, but that belongs to the owner of the land. This is the end of the dormitory for both boys and girls. And we have the classrooms beginning from here. So we find that behind the classrooms, there is no bigger space for any further expansion. Like we were planning to have a ditch that could transport water that is coming from the new land that we purchased recently. But when we look at the distance between the houses and the fence, we have a very, very narrow space. Like if you reach here, for you to make a ridge that could transport water down to the land where we have just come from is seeming to be very difficult, because this is the block, this is the next house. So when you want to dig a ditch, and a bigger ditch, it will probably affect the classroom that we have here. And that is why we were having a feeling, okay, if we can have the ridge down near the ditch, what we can do with the ditch is just to have a pipe. If you can have big pipes done and then ferrying the water without affecting the classrooms, then it would be viable to use that. But actually just digging the valley, leaving it open like that, it will keep on caving, and eventually the houses will be forced to fall down, and that will be very, very dangerous to the school. Like here, if you look at the space between the fence and the wall, it's very small. That if you want to do any work here, it becomes very difficult for any activity to be done, because we never wanted to waste much of our land. So as we walk, just here, I think on the tall sisal, we have a sisal pool there. I feel and the sisal here marks the boundary for the school and the other property. Adjacent to it is the new land that was purchased. We purchased land over here, and the land is also for the school, and in the future it could be of great help, and that is why we had to stop putting up secondary down, and we are praying that in the future the whole land that we have here adjacent is behind me. There you can have the police post, and the police post was created there. We eventually had to put it in place to give the security to both the communities and the school as well, because where there is no security, there is no development. And we realized, following the historical events that have been taking place, we took no chances to leave the land without the help of the police in place. And we have the land just adjacent to the police post and to the land that we have for the school. The whole land belongs to the school. And in the future, we are praying that, God willing, if we can have a high school constructed on the same land. It is 9 acres, and 9 acres is a very big land that is enough. The old Petals where we have is only 3 acres. We still have some 4 acres outside, and we have some 9 more acres up. So we feel if we can utilize the land properly, we'll be able to have both the kindergarten, the primary or elementary school, and then we'll be able to have a high school in place. And eventually, because the land is still there, we can even have an expansion, and we have even a college, because most of the colleges are putting where there is land for expansion, and we have that. Petals have land for expansion, very big land that, if properly used, we can have both the elementary, high school, and then we have a college put on the same ground, rather than going and we are looking for land elsewhere, and we find that purchasing a land is very, very expensive. But we had purchased ours, we have the title deed in place. It is only the development that is required, and I feel we'll be able to do much on the same land, because for you to develop an area, the first thing that the government is looking into, do you have land for expansion? And that is what we have. I feel we'll have much development done on the same land, even in the near future.